What's up, Texas basketball fans? I'm Keenan Womack. Before you do anything, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. But today I have two very special guests. I have the wonderfully talented Serenity Douglas and Longhorns basketball star Dylan Disu. How are you two doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing
Good,
really
man.
good too.
Yeah.
We're like combining shows here. It's always just me and Dylan, but now we have just the real basketball guy here, which is Keenan.
I appreciate that. So I guess you're feeling pretty good after that game last night, huh?
Yeah, we feel really good about having that win. It was a big game for us, a rivalry game. So we're always happy to come away with a win.
Yeah, so that was a big game. Big crowd showed up. So what did it feel like to have that crowd just so behind you guys? It was so loud in there.
Yeah, it was great. I think last night was probably our best crowd in the Irwin Center so far. Other than like the game at Gregory, that was a great game as well. But just having that crowd there was amazing. To see the support that they have for the Texas basketball team. So we want to keep that going the rest of the conference schedule.
Yeah, and it's also impressive because classes haven't started yet, right? They start this coming week, correct?
Yes, it's next Tuesday.
Yeah, so
great.
you got a crowd like that going without even the students all being back yet. So it just shows that these things are starting to heat up and that the conference slate is really getting into gear and everybody's really excited about it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's truly basketball season now. That's what I saw from the crowd last night. But since you're new, I'm really interested to hear, like, what did you hear about the Red River rivalry just coming into this week? And did it live up to the hype?
I think I've known about the Red River rivalry since I'm from here. I grew up a Longhorn fan, so I kind of knew what it was already. But Coach Beard just preached to us that this is a big game, that a lot of the past players like KD and a lot of those guys had texted him that they were going to be tuned in tonight. And so I felt like this was a big game to everyone and not just to us. So we had to make sure we had a great game last night.
Yeah, and what stuck out to me actually was the way AJ1 played, Andrew Jones. He really got it going last night. And how important is it going to be going forward to keep your guards hot going into the Big 12?
Yeah, we kind of have an approach where, everyone's going to have games where they're going to get hot and we want to feed that guy. Last night, it was Andrew's night. A couple of nights ago, it was Marcus at Kansas State. So that's kind of how we see things going forward. Everyone's going to have their night, and everyone else is just going to try to get to that guy and, kind of feed the high hand. So we want to continue that.
Yeah, and I feel like the crowd is even more fired up because of Andrew Jones' story. Like he's really a beloved player in Austin and in college basketball in general. It was just a really cool moment to see him go off, especially in a rivalry game like that. It's such a big game, and especially bouncing back from Oklahoma State, you guys really made a statement, I think, last night about what this team is capable of. What do you think it does for your confidence going forward, knowing that you can play like that over 40 minutes?
Yeah, Coach Beard has talked to us about how a lot of people, we weren't on a lot of people's radars as of late because of just like the schedule and our last loss at Oklahoma State. So I think that this win kind of gives us a lot of confidence going forward because Oklahoma, that was a solid team. They were 2-1, had some good wins, some ranked wins. So beating a team like that just gives us all the confidence to know that we can beat anyone in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was interesting because Oklahoma actually beat Iowa State on Saturday, and that was kind of considered an upset. And OU has been a team that was kind of not really looked at as a great team coming into the season, but they've played really well so far. But y'all's defense was just so stifling. It was so difficult to score. I mean, you guys held their top scorer to one field goal for the entire game. So what does that do sort of for your defensive confidence, knowing that you can shut down these like top players, these big forwards? Even if you guys aren't the biggest team, you still give a ton of effort on that end of the floor and you make it really difficult to score.
Yeah, Coach Beard has preached it to us like since we got here in the summer that it started on defense for us, so the offense would come later as we like get into a groove and find our roles and just build chemistry with each other. But defensively, we can impact the game now, and I think that that kind of like showcased itself last night and has throughout the season with us like averaging the least amount of points on defense in the country, I think right now. I don't know if that's changed or not, but I think that if we continue to play defense like that, I think that we can compete with anyone in the country.
Yeah, I agree. And it's so efficient too. You guys, you play at a slow pace, but your offensive possessions are efficient by statistical analysis. And I think it may have taken a little while to get the offense gelling at first, just because you're all new guys and you hadn't played together. I mean, this is your 16th or 17th game so far this year, and you're really starting to find a groove, I think. So I had another question I want to ask you, actually, Dylan. So you pay attention to the NBA, I'm sure. What players do you sort of remind you of yourself? Like what players do you watch and you think that's what I'm trying to do?
Serenity's asked me this question before. I don't really like model my game after anyone specifically.
I was hoping your answer changed by now.
But I will say, I think I've been compared to a couple of different guys. When I was younger, I used to get a couple of years ago, I used to get compared to a guy like Channing Frye, like a 3-and-D type of guy. But as I've become taller and stronger, that my defense has gotten better as well. So people compare me to different players now. So I don't know. I don't compare myself to anyone specifically, but I think that I can do a lot of things.
It's a good mindset to have. But Dylan, I'm really interested to hear, how are you able to stay motivated with COVID inching up again, especially after that Christmas break? And it's been taking some of your teammates out a little bit, your opponent's teams out a little bit. So how are you able to stay motivated during this time of just uncertainty?
Yeah, Coach Beard talks about it a lot. We don't really avoid the elephant in the room when it comes to COVID and things like that. He says just to control what we can control. We're going to practice every day like nothing's happening outside. But in the back of our minds, we know that, something could happen. We could lose a player, but we have to continue to just push forward and just keep playing, I guess.
Yeah, it really is such a kind of a dark cloud over sports right now. You just don't know who you're going to have on any given night. I mean, Tre was out against Oklahoma State. AJ was out against Kansas State. But you guys still are coming out there with this high energy. And, as far as the front court goes for Texas, there's so many talented guys. You have Timmy Allen, you have Christian Bishop, you have Tre Mitchell. So it's super deep, but you're still managing to stand out even when you're competing with these other guys. So how does playing with these other forwards elevate your play?
I think it starts in practice, honestly. Every day we go back into practice and we compete against one another. And I think that helps us when it comes to the game time, because if you're practicing against some of the best players in the country when it comes to the game, I think it gets a little easier. So I think that kind of helps us a lot in the games, and just, playing hard and playing our roles. If we continue to play within our roles, I think that it's not hard for us to stand out because, we're making plays that a lot of other guys don't make around the country.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been of the belief that iron sharpens iron, kind of in those practices when you're going really hard at each other, at your teammates. It's all love, but it's still very competitive. And that's the kind of edge that you get from a coach like Chris Beard, who definitely pushes you guys really hard. The energy is there. I thought it was a really cool moment last night when Coach Beard ran out and chest bumped with Andrew Jones after a big play. And that just kind of indicated to me the relationship you guys have with each other as a team. He seems to be a great leader, but also a guy that can relate to you guys. What do you have to say about that in your relationship with Coach Beard?
Yeah, Coach is a competitor, and I think that's why we relate to him the most. He's the most competitive person, I think, or coach that I've been around in my basketball career and in my athletic career in general. So I think that we can all relate to him from that standpoint. So when Andrew made that big play, I think it was a chase down block. Because Coach has really wanted Andrew to, work on his defense and play defense and play hard on the other side of the ball and not just offense. And so when Coach sees that happening in the game, I think he gets super excited, and it was a great play, honestly. And so that's why Coach is so excited. And when you see your coach excited like that, it gives you confidence.
And speaking of Coach Beard, last night after the Texas versus Oklahoma game, he decided to just replace the word that has just been circulating after weeks and weeks, aggressiveness. He replaced it with assertiveness. Now he is just coaching off of assertiveness and basically just really standing on that point. And I was just interested to hear, how is the team working on now assertiveness in practice every day?
Yeah, we want to be like very, I guess, I think aggressive is the better word, but because we've heard it so much, but just like attacking every rep and attacking just each other and competing with competing as a whole. I think that he has the mindset that the most aggressive team is going to win, and he's right when it comes to that. We didn't have the most aggressive game against Oklahoma State, and so we kind of try to flip the switch against Oklahoma and going forward in the Big 12 play. So I think if we continue to be aggressive, I think we're going to have a good season.
Yeah, I think that a big emphasis clearly after the Oklahoma State game was just intensity, coming in, high energy, diving on loose balls, getting your hands in passing lanes, creating turnovers, trapping guards, stuff like that. So it was clear that you guys worked really hard on that in practice over the last couple of days. Can you comment on that? You think that's something he was definitely pushing you guys for?
Yeah, for sure. We had two tough practices when we got back from Oklahoma State, just being aggressive and competing against one another. So I think that was really what played into the game against Oklahoma.
Yeah, and you guys just came out like you could just tell the intensity was there from the jump. I think Oklahoma led maybe once or twice in the whole game and never by more than 2 points in the first 10 minutes. And
Right.
you guys held them to, I think, 9 points in the first 11 minutes or something like that. So I don't remember exactly, but it was something really impressive like that. And it was just really dominance from the jump, from the whole game. And I think that that's definitely something that your coach was pushing really hard. So in general, the Big 12 is, you probably don't pay attention to this, but the Big 12 is the best college basketball conference right now. But you guys have a 3-1 record in conference. So how does that make you feel about going forward? This game against Iowa State on Saturday is going to be tough for sure, but I feel like you guys have unlocked this new level of confidence after beating on OU.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Beard talks to us about not really worrying about the record too much, because it doesn't really mean too much this first half of conference. He talks a lot about coming up for air after the first 9 games and seeing where we stand. So we're not really too worried about the standings or whatnot. We just want to continue to play hard and come out with the same level of aggressiveness in the next game, so we can have a big road win against Iowa State.
Yeah, I think if you take down Iowa State, that would probably be your most impressive victory. But you did beat Stanford as well, and Stanford upset USC last night, gave them their first loss of the year. So a lot of these games that may have not seemed huge at the time are turning out to be very impressive wins. So I don't know. I was very impressed with the game the game last night. I think you guys are really starting to get into a groove, especially defensively. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season and see what you guys can do. And do you have any last comments you want to make?
No, I don't. But I want to thank you guys for having me on the show. What's it called again?
Keep Austin Beard.
Keep Austin Beard. I've seen that before. That's a great
It's too clever.
It is a very clever name. It's a little better than, I wouldn't say it's better than chilling with Dylan, but it's right there.
Well, we appreciate having you on, brother, man. We really enjoyed this talk and we got a lot of information out of it. So thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Serenity, for being your wonderful self, as you always are. Doing great work for OB as well. So don't forget to like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And that will do it for Keep Austin Beard this week. Thanks, Dylan, and thanks, Serenity.
Of course.